Hey guys, Ben here with Stringer Bridge Farm, and today I am working on stacking an enterprise on top of our cattle business. So this is something I think there's a whole bunch of reasons why. I'll go through a few of those with you guys, and we'll see how quick y'all can figure out exactly what I'm doing here. If you take a look, I've got a tractor, I've got my transit level, I've got a drain pipe going in, I've got the excavator. We've got the whole gamut of equipment to get this one done. And but before I tell you what I'm doing, I'm going to tell you why. All right, so I think you can see the equipment back behind me. I'm gonna walk off into the woods over here and kind of explain a couple things to you guys. So first off, those of you who've been following the channel, I sure appreciate it. Those of you who are new, Stringer Bridge Farm, we are primarily just a cattle operation farm. We have raised all other types of livestock like sheep and goats and all these other things. And I think we're to the point where we're ready to stack our enterprise, but it's not going to be with more livestock. And there's a couple of reasons for that. So I'm going to talk specifics for me and our enterprise here in my situation. So I guess to fully appreciate that, you probably need to understand what some of my goals are with this farm. So right now I'm employed full-time. I have a corporate job. I don't hate it, but it's not my passion. So it's something I can do for the rest of my career if I wanted, retire when I'm retirement age, but that's not really what I want to do here. So what I want to do is grow our farm business to a point where in somewhere like 5 to 7 years, I've at least got the ability to leave my corporate job and come farm full time. So to me, that means I've got to grow our business to a point where, keep in mind, it's a partnership with my parents. So I've got to grow the farm business to where half of the farm business is enough to support my family. So we have 300 acres. I think the maximum carrying capacity we'll ever get to, if we keep our beef operation in something like 60 or 80 mama cows, which could generate a decent amount of income. But for me, it's not going to reach the level we need if I'm only taking half of that profit. And then two, it's very risky. There's so much that can go wrong with your cattle operation. You can have disease, illness, drought. There's all these things that can come in and wipe out a year's worth of profit, or worse, set you way back. So I've got to figure out some ways to mitigate that risk. And the other thing I have is I'm definitely limited on time. So like I said, I work full time. I have 3 kids. They all play sports. They all do different things. And so for me, time is a big factor. So I'm gonna keep talking, but you can kind of get a view of what this area of our land looks like. So because I don't have a lot of time, and I don't want to take the risk with additional livestock, and I want to stack an operation that's going to make some money, I got to get a little bit more creative in what to do on our property to stack an enterprise. So again, I'm gonna pan back, and you can see way back through there is where I just came from. I don't know if you can quite make it out. But what I have is I have some marginal land on our property. So this land is something that has little to no value for our cows. It's kind of situated right in the middle of one of our fields here. You can see it's dry ground, but it's wooded and it's generally pretty low. But what happens is in the wintertime, this area gets boggy, holds a little bit of water from time to time. And so I want to use it for something in that capacity, because I'll never be able to grow good grass here, and I'll never be able to keep it good and dry for my cows. So my plan is to utilize this in a completely different way that does not involve livestock. So there are 2 key pieces to what I'm doing here, and one of them is on this end where I've got to install this drain pipe. So I can't just let the water free flow as it wants. I need a way to be able to control it. So by installing this pipe and putting a little dirt around it to stop the water from flowing around it, I'll be able to do that on this side. All right, so I'm nowhere close to done with this part of the just getting this culvert set. I've got to work all that in, and I actually have to extend, put a little bit of dirt going up this way, about another 200 feet to build that up just a little bit for what I'm trying to do here. And I guess we'll see in the comments how fast some of you guys figure out what's going on here. But I'm a big proponent of, you got to do what makes sense for you. So What I'm about to do here, if I had beautiful hilly land or whatever I had other than our low swampland, it'd be very difficult to do what I'm going to do here. But I definitely am a believer in do what makes sense for you. So for me, add more livestock doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like I said, I don't have the time. I will become land limited. Yes, I could run chickens behind the cows, or I could add sheep or goats to eat brush instead of grass. I can make small improvements there, but to me, I want to do something that's going to take very little time once I get it set up, at least for the most part. We'll get into that with more detail, because it's not exactly true that it won't take more time. But most of the year it will require little to no time or energy. And then I have a unique situation with our property type that I can do this, and then hopefully it could actually make us some decent money, because I can provide a desirable product, at least for our area. It's probably not popular everywhere, but here in Southeast Louisiana, there's one thing that is extremely popular. Way over there at the tip of these woods is where you saw me putting in that piece of PVC pipe, an 8-inch PVC pipe. And then on this side, I came with the excavator and I cleared along the fence line here. But where the land drops off, so you can see the tractor sitting on that high ground, drops off about 15 or 18 inches. This is probably going to be the hardest part of the whole project, just because of the sheer time it's going to take. But now I've got to come and I'm going to put a small little 15-inch high levee this whole length right here on this stretch where I've already cleared out these trashy old tallow trees. Got them piled up there. We're still in a burn ban, so I can't burn anything, which is crazy. We've got a cool front today. It's beautiful weather. It'd be a perfect day to burn, but I can't, because we're still in a burn ban here in Louisiana, because we're in not an extreme drought. What do they call it? There's another word they use for it. I can't think of it, but it's one level beyond extreme. It's you can see where I was digging that ditch. It's just dry. The ground's like concrete. So, but you could probably see this is going to take a lot of dirt, even though it's only 15 inches high. I'm going to do it about 8 feet wide, just wide enough for the tractor, and then it'd be perfect for the cows to walk across to get back and forth. But that's a lot of dirt. So let me show you where I'm getting all that dirt from. So I guess you always got to look at the bright side of things. We've been in this horrible drought. It's been terrible for most things, but it has allowed me the opportunity to dig about 300 or 400 yards of dirt out of our pond. You can see I had a little cofferdam here, but the pond is about 3 feet low already. So on the shallow end of our pond, I was able to put a little cofferdam in, and I dug down about 8 or 10 feet, and I was able to get several hundred yards of dirt out of the pond. And I'm actually going to deepen up some of the banks while I'm at it. So you can kind of see I haven't fully cleaned it up yet, but this is all where I dug that dirt up. So kind of the same thing the dirt guy did when he was digging. Right there is a cofferdam that's normally like 2 feet underwater, and it's actually exposed right now. It's got trees starting to grow on it. So take advantage of the drought to get our dirt out of the ground. Now the tedious part is going to be hauling it one scoop at a time. So I think I'm going to get my dad on the other tractor, and we'll see if the both of us can't get a big pile of this dirt moved and get going with our little levee. See, I got my dad is on the 55 horsepower tractor, and I'm on the big one. and together we're gonna haul this dirt and see if we can't get us our levee built. So I got it where we can go in different spots so we're not running over each other, but he's going over there and I'm going right through here, and I'm gonna show you in just a second what we got going on. So it is the next day. I didn't quite get all the dirt moved for this little levee I'm building along this side. I'll flip the camera around and let you see what we got. So you saw my dad and I were both hauling dirt together. I was working here. You can kind of see way over there. That's kind of where it starts. I put in about 250 feet or so right here. I've got one little gap left. I didn't quite finish. The neighbors called us to come eat dinner, and I didn't want to be rude, so I quit with a couple hours of daylight left. So I didn't quite get this chunk finished. And then we have on that end, I don't know, let me go down there real quick. So I've got to get from right here so you can kind of make out that little patch of mud right there to right there. It's about another 60, 70 feet. So we're almost there. I think we moved about 250 yards of dirt so far. I'm figuring maybe another 80 or so, 100 yards of dirt, and we should have at least the base of this levee done. And what I'll probably do is actually come and move a little bit of topsoil on top of it so I can get some grass growing and get it all stabilized as soon as possible. But after it dries a little bit, I'm gonna come track it down with the excavator, and we should be well on our way to getting started with this little project that we're taking on. So those of you who have guessed that we were doing something to do with crawfish, you would be correct. LSU has a bunch of publications. They actually have a service that's nearby to us that I can actually get a biologist out here at some point in the near future. But I've read up on all their stuff. I think we have a game plan to kind of get going. We probably won't get any appreciable crawfish production next year because you can see right now we're working on getting all of our water control systems in place for this one small paddock, which is only going to be about 3 acres. And we're going to get water in it this winter, and a lot of it's going to be to kill a few of these trees. It's not going to kill all the trees. Some of these trees will persist for many, many years of seasonal flooding. It will kill some pretty quickly, and it'll thin out the woods hopefully enough that next summer we can start by getting some good forage in here, and we should be set up to have good crawfish production the following spring. So those of you who are interested in following along, this will be a small part of our channel where we will post updates, and you'll get to see how the cows and the crawfish are actually going to work together, because I know a lot of you are thinking those aren't really stacking. That's just doing 2 different things with 2 different pieces of your land. It's not exactly true. I appreciate you guys following along with us, and if you got any comments, leave them below.